because I do 1,300 crunches and sit-ups 4 times a week.
What's a dose? Can you translate for us?
Winner of the gold medal and the champion golfer of the year is Ernie Els.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Goat Track. This is episode 24. The Goat Track is a podcast about golf and golf adjacent stuff, mostly from Africa. Super thrilled to be playing another 4-ball this evening, and my goodness, we're breaking records here. JDV just told us before we started recording that the wife is not happy about the third podcast within 5 days, but what can we do? It was Masters Week. Stoked to have JDV, Hoff, and our special guest who's joined us again, Nick Tatham. Thanks for joining us, gentlemen. Classic mistake of introducing you all at the same time. Guys, it's been a couple of days now with the Masters dust has slowly settled. I've got to be honest. I still long for this time last week when there was just so much like excitement ahead of us. How are you guys? Well, you know what? I'm going to start with you, Nick. How are you feeling after the weekend?
I feel vindicated. I think that I went into the week with my picks, not my Golfchamps picks. That's a different story. But my picks on the preview pod, I thought I did a pretty good job there. 3 of my 4 ended in the top 11 of the field. So I feel I'm satisfied with my efforts. But on the whole, I'm pretty disappointed that it's over. Just like that. I know, just Thursday to Sunday, blew past like the winds through Augusta, and here we are talking about it.
Well, Nick, you've had some other golf drugs to tap into this week, and I definitely want to ask you a couple of questions about a few things you've been up to over the last few days towards the back end of the pod. But no, well done. You definitely had your dogs had a good showing. It was a good dog show for you. Hoff, just to address like there's a big elephant in the room, unfortunately, with this podcast, and that we try and bring our listeners latest up to date news about golf and golf adjacent stuff. And I started, like we did most nights on the Masters, I started putting some banter out on our Goat Track WhatsApp group. And on Sunday nights, the guys were about to tee off. The final groups were coming up, and I just wasn't getting any response. And I kept trying every sort of half an hour. I'd throw out like a message, "Hey, how about that putt?" Or I was sending videos of Shane Lowry and. Hey, and there was just nothing coming back from the boys. Anyway, I was sort of doing that. I think eventually I sent that meme where it's the guy like high-fiving himself. That was about 10:30 at night. And, turns out that both JDV and Hoff, were in bed, like passed out by like 8 o'clock. So I don't know where we start. I don't know where you guys, I know you both have a legal background. How are you going to defend this one?
Oh, you're starting with me.
I don't care. You guys can hold hands and answer together. Just you got to give me some sort of reply, please.
My defense is I'm going to like most things at this time of my life. I'm going to blame my son who doesn't sleep and continues not to sleep, which I thought was a good thing for the Masters, but turns out it was the other way around. So my legal defense is definitely self-defense, that's for sure. Combined with having played golf without a hat on during the day and got absolutely smashed by the sun. So that is my defense. I don't know if it will hold up in front of the jury. I don't know what JDV is going to say. He's got no excuses. His son's older than mine, so he's stuffed. But that's my defense.
Yeah, I don't have much of a defense. I'm falling on the mercy of the jury here. Only to say that you can't half kill someone. So I was like, well, fuck, if I'm going to kill someone, then I'm going to kill someone. So it's like, it got to the stage where I said, I'm flipping tired. I'm not going to stay awake till 9:15 or 9:30 and watch Scottie play the first 3 or 4 holes. I might as well just go all in and just go to bed before he even tees off. I mean, if you're going to go if you're going to dip your foot in the water, you might as well just dive in. So that's pretty much what I did. I was like, well, that's it. I'm in for a pound, in for a penny, in for a pound. Went to bed before Scottie even teed off. I fall on my sword. I fall on the mercy of all of you guys. Tell me
So
what I missed.
So that sounds very much like a not guilty plea by myself and very much a guilty plea by JDV. So we'll see how that pans out.
It's so funny that you bring up that defense that you were going to rely on the highlights package, Jacques, when like not only 24 hours before were you telling us how crap the Supersport highlights packages have become. So it's a little thin there for me, on that side.
It's premeditated.
Yeah, I mean, I think
it's premeditated. You can hear it in his voice. He's guilty as sin. I've got a legitimate defense, whereas Jacques is falling on his sword in a bad way. So 10 years for Jacques. I'll take house arrest.
should be the other way. It should be the other way around, where if you put the guilty plea in, you get the mercy because you're not wasting the court's time with having to sift through a rubbish defense.
No, but yours is premeditated, so you stuffed.
The legalese, they're coming through here. I feel like who was worse than the other at the end of the day? Who watched less golf?
I would say JDV.
No, I disagree with that.
Deny, reaccuse.
We'll let the listeners make the final decision. Have we lost Terence?
What I did do is I went back and watched the highlights package, and I also went and watched all of the specific highlights of the golfers we were following. To say that the highlights package was 16 minutes, which was such a treat from Supersport to give us an extra 3 minutes in what we were used to on those highlights packages. But the problem is that I think 5 of those minutes were the ceremony at the end of the jacket.
It's the most awkward thing in the whole world. I can't handle it anymore.
But admit, Tucky, it's even
Shipley.
Yeah, I was about to say that. It's even more awkward because of that oak specifically. Like that oak
that's true.
It's insane. It's absolutely insane. Like he looks like a deer in the headlights. I mean, I guess we'll get into it later with highlights and lowlights. But if we're talking about him now, my highlight has got to be his. I don't know if you guys saw it, but that press conference that he did, where the one journalist asked him what Tiger Woods had written down and the note that he passed him on whatever hole it was. And he like glanced at the green jacket that was sort of presenting the press conference and then back and then said, no, I don't know what you're talking about. It didn't happen. It was the most guilty, weird moment I think I've ever seen in my life.
Sorry guys, I am back. I just had some serious internet issues there. But I am back. I agree with you, Hoff. Did you see those memes going around of that dude like in Butler Cabin, and he was like looking at like obviously some green jackets in the background or something. He looked like it looked like I think someone said on another thing, it might have been another podcast, they were like, that's when the edibles have just kicked in. That was kind of the look that he had on his face.
No laying up.
It was so good. I loved that. Yeah, it was, well, anyway, Jacques, look, and Carl, we just need to be better. I'll be honest, you missed the first 12 holes of that, the sort of back end were really, really good. And it was honestly, it felt like it was like a 4-horse race at one point. And then it was amazing how quickly the wheels came off 3 of those horses within the space of 15, 20 minutes. Each of them, I think, had made a double bogey. And yeah, Scheffler just popped it into like 4th gear and just said, see ya boys. Thanks for coming. So, yeah, Scottie, I mean, what can you say? It's just an incredible performance. Absolute horse for course for Augusta was one of the notes I had. Like, he's just, his game and his just everything about the way he plays the game is just totally suited towards, Augusta. He's obviously slightly rectified the putting. I mean, he's still not a world-class putter, but he's good enough. I think you said it last week, Tucky, if he just puts average, he's going to win by quite a few. And that's pretty much what happened.
You know what I found is that, like, even when he was out of position, even on Sunday, like if he was out of position, there was just no one who came close to him and getting sort of up and down or getting it close or getting it within like sort of an area where he could make par. It was just so clinical. And like, it sort of the back end of Sunday, you just knew it. It was like inevitable. There was no one going to get close to him. Guys, as he said, were falling off the wagon. He was just driving that wagon home back to Dallas or wherever the hell he's from, and just playing like it was just any old round of golf. And like, I think that's the thing that these oaks have to worry about the most, is that if he's in the mix on a Sunday, and I think going forward, like in any competition, I think we've seen it too, that there's just, you've got to watch him. He's the guy to catch at the end of the day. I'm wearing my Nike cap in homage to Scottie Scheffler and his win. But yeah, guys, that oak is just ruthless.
I think what for me, another note I had, and I'll leave my 2 comrades out of this because I'm pretty sure Supersport Blitz wouldn't have shown this. But the first like 4 holes, Scottie was off his game. He was airmailing greens. The first hole he landed like, I don't know, 20 yards short of that green. And a note I had was, Morikawa, I think he hit the first green, the first 6 greens in a row. He had birdie putts on, I think, all 6 of the first holes, and he couldn't make a single one of them. And, so Scottie, had Morikawa say birdie the second, which should most of the field are birding that hole. Morikawa had a pretty good look there. He also had a look on 3 that he missed and Scottie made. Suddenly maybe it's a different story where if Morikawa goes 1 up after 6 holes, but obviously Scottie just, whatever they did, whether it was him or his caddy, they adjusted. And from then on, it was just textbook stuff. I mean, he just turned it on from like the 5th hole, whatever slight demons he had in his game. He just, managed to get his length and then it was more or less, game over. Especially after the other guys all stumbled and, made mistakes. So, super cool kind of 12 holes. It was, I said last week what I really wanted was a tight back 9, and we never really got that. I think, I don't know, once Scottie had birdied the 14th hole, it was almost a bit like last year with Rahm. I remember Rahm birding the 14th, and it was pretty much game over. I think his lead was 2 or 3 by then. And as you say, you pretty much knew he wasn't going to give it away, Tucky. JDV, what sort of, from your 7 minutes of highlights, what kind of stood out for you in the last couple of days?
Well, I think maybe your internet was down when I qualified it, and said I did do my homework afterwards, and went and watched a bit more of an extended highlights, and particularly the highlights of some of our internals. But what I did take away is that had I known that I only needed to basically watch till about 10:30, 11 at the latest before the tournament was pretty much over, probably would have pushed through. But yeah, I mean, let's it's lekker seeing Scottie win and seeing someone dominate the golf course. And I mean, at one stage, again, everyone was in it, in that front nine, and then, Scottie put his foot down and everyone else shat the bed. And that was the end of the tournament, essentially, and then it was just Scottie doing a victory lap, a procession into the 18th and, making par for good measure and getting the blurry camera and, at the end there. So, yeah, I think it was, had I known that the tournament would be over by the 11th, I would have stayed up. And again, I think I would have been super excited on that front nine, but it fizzled out. I mean, do you guys feel the same way? That
we'll never know.
I qualify it with saying that's how it came off on the highlights package.
Oh, jeez. Guys, we did pretty well. I think you touched on this, Taki, with our picks. And I'm gonna jump in here because I probably did the worst, or in fact I definitely did the worst in terms of the picks. But I just had notes here. Obviously we had Scottie, but Carl with a great pick on Ludwig, who had a fantastic week. Tyrrell Hatton, he was I think he was in the street special category. Which we were quite surprised about. I think he was at that stage he was at like 80-1, and I think we said sure maybe like a top 10 bets on him. I think he finished 9th. Jacques with Bryson. I mean, cheapers. We were all groaning and moaning when you said that name, and what a week of both golf and content from Bryson. And then I had here Taki's pick, his farm dog, Cam Young, came in the top 10 as well. So well done, gentlemen. Very nice showing from all of you.
I'm going to be very interested to see where all of our lapdogs ended up, because that's a discussion that could take up an hour, I reckon.
Well, spoiler alert, mine missed the cut.
So did mine.
Yeah, listen, I don't think that's a spoiler. I think that's a given.
Well, mine.
But I mean, Taki Malnati came back nicely.
Yeah, he finished. He beat. I'll tell you, he beat Bubba Watson. He beat a former champion. He beat Charles Schwartzel, a former champion. He beat Fred Couples. Okay, whatever. Beat Dustin Johnson, former champion, and he beat Gary Woodland, another major champion. So. Take that how you will.
But he missed the cut.
So my lapdog was Schwartzel, who looks like he was the worst.
Hoff, who did you have?
Who did you have, Hoff?
Well, I was going to jump in there and say that I thought my lapdog was doing really well because he ended up making the cut. But if you look at my Golfchamps score, his score ended up being as bad as the guys that missed the cut. I mean, it was like the biggest fall from grace ever. It was Torbjorn Olesen. I mean, he was in the top 10 at one stage. And I had counted all of my chickens by that stage already. And when I looked on Monday morning, I think he finished like plus 18 or something like that, or plus 14 or something along those lines. He was absolutely terrible. So I would say good, but exactly with that tone, sort of like good. I don't actually know if it is good, but yeah, it was an up and down one with old Torbers.
So Torbjorn Olesen finished second. Yeah, he finished second last of the guys who made the cut, but he made the cut. That's it.
I know, but I mean that's from where he was. He just. And I don't know if you guys saw it, but I think it was round 4. He wore one of the most horrific shirts I think I've ever seen on a golf course. It was very Phil Mickelson in that one advert a couple of years ago, but I would tend to say even worse. So I think he deserved it for where he ended up finishing. So yeah, a very up and down weekend from my lapdog.
Guys, Jock, I was wondering if you could take us through sort of the Golfchamps kind of summary. I think one of the worst things about this weekend for me in Golfchamps was that my strategy was to go for like four. Well, I decided to settle on sort of more middle of the road guys, so I didn't take one of the sort of very outsider live guys. I did take John Rahm, which turned out to be a great pick as my like main like thoroughbred. But I ended up taking three guys who ended up very, very well. In fact, all of them were very middle of the road, and I think I actually lost. I got a worse score than you, Jacques, even though you had a guy who missed the cut, which is that's a bit of that's going to hurt for a while. What did you see about? And maybe you can just take us through the winners and losers in the Goat Track pool if you've got that in front of you. What I noticed on Golfchamps, the guys who seemed to do well obviously had Scottie, but they tended to have at least one of the live guys. So that was definitely strategy A, was to have a guy to get you the higher ranking points. And then they seem to have at least one other sort of top 10 player in the world. And then like you could still then basically pick whoever you wanted because the live guys rankings just push you up so high. So, not taking a live guy where we thought that was, possibly who knew a bit of a cheat code. It did depend which live guy you took though, because, a couple of them like Sergio and that didn't come through for guys. Dustin Johnson, no, he was a favorite for a lot of people. He missed the cut. So you still had to be a little picky with who you took. Do you have the Golfchamps in front of you there, Mr. JDB?
I've got it up here, Terence. I think, firstly, I just want to give a real shout out to Mr. Paul Somerville, who went wire to wire for the wooden spoon.
Did he go wire to wire? That's impressive.
Yeah, so I think that is impressive. I mean, and like I said, just to reiterate, his picks actually weren't the shittest. He had Jordan Spieth, Victor Hovland, Brooks Koepka, and Dustin Johnson, which on any other day I'd be saying, yeah, I mean that could win it on like a given day. Look, Jordan Spieth's dog shit, so I don't know why he picked him, but he came stone last.
Well, he finished like in the top 5 last year at the Masters, so I mean it's not a terrible pick.
Just appreciate though what he ended up on. He ended up on plus 93, which has got to be some sort of record.
My word.
So as much as Scottie demolished the field in the Masters, Paul Somerville demolished the field for the wooden spoon. He was 13 shots clear of Sebastian Fullion on 80 over in 204th place.
Sure.
I think all of us here in the Goat Track, we were sort of bottom third between 100 and 150. So we didn't cover ourselves in glory. Winning it. So if you're taking betting advice from the Goat Track, maybe look elsewhere. But yeah, Henko Kutsia in third place on minus 11. He had picks of Scottie Scheffler, Cam Smith, Bryson, and Rory. He must have been looking. I think he was winning off when we did the sort of midway one. Then Dion Theron had Scottie Scheffler,
that's right,
Xander
he was.
Jaco Neiman, and Max Homer, which is actually pretty intense. And then the winner of the Goat Track, he had Scottie Scheffler, Ludwig Aberg, Xander Schauffele, and Jaco Neiman. So yeah, Lawrence Kleinans gets the win, and well, I suppose he gets the win if he's followed the T's and C's. But yeah, he was 15 under, which was a solid. What's that? 15, 100 and 103, 108 shots better than Paul Somerville.
Poor old Paul, he's getting dragged under the bus.
So I've got an update. I've got an update on the T's and C's there, Jacques, for Mr. Kleinans. So what I noticed when I woke up in the morning was that at like 2:00 in the morning we suddenly had a new follower on the Go Track Instagram who was also commenting on some of our posts, and I saw the name and I thought, oh, okay, cool. And then I looked on Golfchamps, and yeah, amazingly it was the same person. So yeah, I think Lawrence Lawrence probably, I'm guessing, read the T's and C's after the green jacket was on Scottie.
Man.
But you know what? We'll allow it. He came through, and I have contacted him on Instagram. He's very excited, and we have the postal address at hand. And then I just wanted to say that I sort of made the call on my own that the person who comes last in our Golfchamps pools will also we'll send them some Go Track paraphernalia, some merch. But you can't come last on purpose. So the only way we can really test this is by looking at your team and just giving it a bit of the eye test. And when I look at as you called on Paul's team, I think it passes the eye test for me. I mean, he was definitely trying to win.
Did you find out from Lawrence, is he a big Kieran Vincent fan? I mean, it's just in anticipation of his prize.
What's that? The signed rain glove where the signatures washed off the black. Yeah, Lawrence, if you're listening, the actual details around that prize are just being finalized by our auditors. And yeah, we it's as soon as possibly ready. We're going to have the courier guy, at our headquarters, getting that stuff to you as quick as we can. But yeah, we just need some written confirmation from our auditors on the details there. But yeah, well done. It was a pretty awful showing, from most of our perspective. I didn't actually look at your team, Taki. How did you do?
Have a look now. 120th at plus 24. Scottie Scheffler, Patrick Reed, John Rahm, and Sergio let me down. Mr. Cut, the bastard.
Taki, that is interestingly, that's 69 shots better than Paul Somerville.
And Paul, yeah, as you said, Paul's team's not bad, eh? The man got unlucky this week.
I agree, and I think Jacques also stressing the point so much that whatever money the Go Track was going to put into future merch, we're now going to have to put into legal fees for being sued the shit out of. Shout out to you, Paul. Big performance, liquidating the Go Track in your first attempt.
I seem to remember someone raising their bat, someone getting to 100 in one of our previous one of our previous Golfchamps pools. Though I'll have to go back and check the records on it. But I feel like somebody has raised their bat before.
I just want to give a quick. I want to give a quick shout out to my man Carl Sterling, who came 203rd on plus 78. Lives down the road, mate of mine. Well played. I'm never taking your advice ever.
What was the advice?
No, if he ever did offer me advice on golf, I probably would. Not probably. I would say no.
Taki, his picks, if you're looking at them in a vacuum, are worse
in a vacuum
for me. I mean, he's got Cam Smith, Victor Hovland, Charles Schwartzel, and Justin Thomas. Now, I think if you'd offered me Paul or your mates, what's his name, Carl's picks before the round, I think I would have taken Paul's actually.
Agreed.
100%. 100%. I don't know where he thought that Charles Schwartzel was going to get him some big points, but
yeah, if he's picking Schwartzel, then we have to audit that in terms of coming last in our pool. I have to just we'll wrap up on Golfchamps here. I mentioned it on Saturday, and I had to give a shout out to the Pies and Gravy Golfchamps pool, which also came away for two tournaments in a row for the largest private pool. So well done to our guy Kevin for organising that pool. I think Kevin's got racking up the VIP tickets to the first Sunshine Tour event, which is the prize that you win. I think it's basically just going to be Pies and Gravy Oaks inside that VIP area. But the gentleman who won that pool and who walked away with 48,000 rand from that pool was a guy by the name of Bruce Ferguson, and he won by 6 shots. I mean, it was a pretty dominating performance. He also ended up coming second in the overall global pool. So yeah, well done, Bruce. And also had a unique pick. So that's seriously impressive. Guys, I asked you guys to sort of think about three random moments from the week, whether they were sort of highlights, lowlights, whatever, memories, on course, off course. And yeah, I'd love to hear what you guys have come up with. I think we can just go around the table. I'm gonna throw it to Taki first. What was your first kind of moment from the week?
That wind, guys, that wind that was blowing, and it was like blowing the sand out of the bunkers, and it looked miserable for those oaks out there, and it made me laugh. Like I was lolling properly, because I was like, guys, you want to be pros, you want to play, you want to be the big dogs. You must play in these conditions. And then I read a story about John Rahm moaning about how he felt that they shouldn't have been out there because of the conditions. And I just thought to myself, I was like, my bro, you as the defending champion, as one of the top 3 golfers in the world, are complaining about conditions like that, then you need to check yourself. I got another one. I checked it on Friday afternoon because I just wanted to make sure that JDV's boy Austin Eckhart, JDV, is it Eckhart? Is it your boy? Yeah, look, he didn't have a great couple of days. Got on the plane early on Friday, but for me the last one was like a proper golf one. Was just, and I don't know if anyone else has said this, but like how good Ludwig is and how incredible that oak's going to be. And I sat thinking about this, and I came up with a take that I reckon. Okay, obviously it's his first major, but I reckon he's going to win more majors than Brooks Koepka. Yeah. I think he's got it. I think that oak's got it, eh?
Sure, I love that prediction. That's a very interesting one. Do you think what about him versus Scottie?
No, I think Scottie's a different player. I think Scottie's going to be he's going to be up there. Although, I guess Scottie's he's won twice in the same place, his major titles. But I think he's got PGA championships and US Opens in him. I don't know about across the pond though, but I think he's got multiple majors in him. But I think Ludwig, he'll be sort of the next guy chasing Scottie. I wanted that guy to be Victor Hovland, and I wanted Vic to just ball out and win majors. But he's had a bad year. But obviously there's a long way to go in this year, and there's also many years ahead of him. But I think Ludwig is just a ball striker, just as steely as you like. Doesn't put a foot wrong. Showed a bit of emotion though, which I quite enjoyed. He made a bogey and was laughing about it, and sort of carried on going, which I think means that he's got something else to him as well. He's not just like Tiger. He's just stone faced, you know. And so I reckon that's my pick for the next however long he plays for, because he's gonna make it, bro.
It's incredible how and I'm not saying that you aren't right, like, because I was super impressed with him. I mean, your first Masters in seriously tough conditions, and the performance that Ludwig had was incredible. I mean, he literally hit one bad shot on Sunday, which pretty much, like, took him out of it. Okay, and look, Scottie made an end there, but he's so great to watch. Carl was talking about it on Saturday, how fast he is. It's just such a joy. But it is amazing how you get kind of caught up in the moments. I mean, I was the no laying up guys. We're talking about Scottie maybe winning the Grand Slam this year, and like at least 2 majors. And it's so, at the time you're like, well, nobody else is ever going to beat this person. But it's amazing how, like, we felt the same about Rahm last year. I mean, Rahm had won a couple times before the Masters, arrived at the Masters, pretty much put the Masters to bed, and then you were like, well, this is it. I mean, this could be 2 or 3 majors this year. And it's amazing how things change. I do think Scottie is on a different level. I think you are right. But yeah, guys, yeah, there were definitely a few guys who were getting quite far ahead of themselves, I thought, with like predicting forward on Scottie, who, look, he has won 2 majors now. They have both been the Masters though. So yeah, let's see what happens.
I think,
but I like that take on Ludwig catching Brooks. That's a great bet.
I might take it, but I'm not a great bettor, so who knows? But my take, like, on Scottie versus Rahm, I just feel like Rahm is just so much more volatile, like, across the board, with his golf and his personality and his temperament. Just like, he's so much more volatile, and I feel like he can have those big peaks and troughs far more than Scottie. Scottie's just will be way more consistent. So that's just, I think that's going to be the big difference between the two.
Fair enough. I don't disagree with that. Huff, what have you got for us? What are your moments?
Yeah, mine were very similar to Tucky's, and I was, it's funny that you brought up no laying up in that tee, because I think those oaks get sucked into recency bias so badly after each tournament. And I was also having a chuckle about, the career Grand Slam and all of that kind of stuff. But I think to Tucky's point on Scheffler, I mean, he's super impressive. I think the putting is obviously something that can his Achilles heel, that can bring him down. But for me, I think the litmus test with him is going to be the remainder of the majors this year, and specifically the Open. If he can perform there, then I think he'll convince me of quite a big major number. But if he's only going to do it at the Masters, and just to say as well, I mean, his caddy Ted Scott just won his 4th Masters as a caddy, which is like absolutely insane. But I mean, it was a super impressive performance. Boring in a way as well, like from a golf like nut perspective, like super exciting and that kind of stuff. But I do struggle a little bit with Scottie Scheffler himself just being like super boring. I don't think he's like the greatest superstar for golf. And to Tucky's point on Jon Rahm, I think that spice that Jon Rahm brings with his temperament, and that is what sort of sets him apart for me from Scottie. So yeah, I think the rest of the year is going to be super interesting to see, what heights Scottie can hit. And, I think if he wins across the pond, then I think it's a scary thought. But yeah, obviously having picked Ludwig Aubert, before all this happened, like super stoked to see his performance. I thought it was epic. He's ice cold. He really is. And not a lot said by some of our fellow podcasts across the pond on him. I thought their segment on him was pretty small. And I think they're pretty terrified from an American point of view with the Ryder Cup, because he's young. He's got, ice in his veins, and I think he's going to do some serious damage. He has already, but he's going to do some serious damage Ryder Cup wise. So those were basically my sort of golfing takeaways. Some of the other takeaways, it was obviously quite tough to see Tiger hobbling around. Good to see him out there, but super hard to see him bending down, trying to get the ball out the hole, and looking like his leg's going to snap in half. So that was another one. And then I mentioned it earlier when you were stuffing around with your internet, T. That moment in the press box with that Shipley guy. That's 100% my highlight of the Masters from a non-golfing perspective.
It was so good. I mean, just on Tiger, like being essentially +1 after 2 rounds, he was literally 7 off the lead. Like he obviously flailed massively in the second, the third, and the fourth round. But it was tough to see him. That last round was really painful. And the thing is, they're always going to have him on like a feature group. So and on Sunday, which you and JDB may have actually even seen. Was pretty difficult to watch. Just seeing him kind of hobble to and fro. So yeah,
I think the toughest part
JDB,
is watching him.
what's sorry, Hoff.
Yeah, I was saying the toughest part is watching him read a putt. Like as he goes down behind the ball to look at his line, you're like, oh my god, this might be the last putt he ever reads. So yeah, I think it's safe to say that his days are numbered. And to be honest, if it ends up that he only plays majors and that's it, then that's fine. I think he's earned the right to do that. But yeah, I think it was quite tough watching him hobble around.
Yeah, I think the one of the interests, like, do you think he'll ever win another PGA Tour events?
No.
Yeah. Which is tough.
Maybe,
because I think him and Sam Snead are tied. Are they not tied for the record? Snead are tied for the record of tour victories at 82, which is like probably one of the few records that Tiger doesn't have. So, yeah, I don't know. I had written Tiger off before like 2019, and he came back, and I always kind of wonder when I watch highlights of that 2019 Masters, you watch him walk around and stuff there. I mean, this was obviously before we had the car accident, and he looks so much like healthier than he obviously does now. And you can't help but wonder, like, if he hadn't had that car accident, like, would he have had just this like amazing, like crazy end to his career, picking up maybe another 2 or 3 majors? I guess we'll never know. I'm pumped to hear JDV's moments from the week.
Terence, I'm going to start with would you like a 86 editors rating from winemag.com? 86 out of 100 wine. Would you like a 86% editors rating wine in settlement of our bet?
So just important to remind people that we had two internal bets going on. We had 2 bottles of wine in play. And my guy, my fucking dog, Shane Lowry, came through for me. Shout out to Sahith. Shout out to Sahith to double bogey the 17th to pretty much give it away. But if there's any arguments, Jacques, for always having a game within the game at a golf tournament, like this was it. Because I mean, my goodness, it came down to literally the last hole between those 2 guys. So this is definitely going to be a segment going forward, and we picked 2 good guys. But to answer your question, it feels like an entrapment question, because it feels like you're going to tell. It feels like I'm going to say yes, and then you're going to say, "Well, I'm going to send you a bottle of Tussies because Tussies once got an 82 rating or something." What are you? What sort of entrapments are you luring me into here?
Let me just quickly read you what winemag.co.za has just said about this particular bottle of wine, which says, when a bottle of Chateau Libertas proved spectacularly disappointing earlier this year, a colleague urged me to revisit Tassenberg for a happier experience. The non-vintage entry level
no
wine,
ways.
produced in Argentina and South Africa bottled, designated as non-vintage. It's famously built. Anyway, Editor's rating 86 out of 100, 35 rand a bottle. Terence, you earned every cent.
So it is Tussies.
Rand with your Lowry bet. It is Tussies. You know me too well.
It is Tussies. Yeah, you see. I knew you were trying to entrap me with a cheap bottle of wine there. No, thanks, JDB. I'll pass on that.
No, I will give you.
But
give you
nice try.
You get a better bottle of wine than Tussies. I'm not such a cheapskate. Although clearly Tussies maybe has something we need to revisit for you Chateau Libertas drinkers out there. But yeah, let me get to my 3 moments. My first one, and again speaking to your point of a game within a game. Genuinely, I was following Sahith versus Lowry probably closer than I should have. And when I went back and watched the highlights of Sahith, it was a sad state of affairs. And especially because when I was watching the feed, I don't know if it was I think it was on day 3, where I was like, yes, how did Sahith do? And then the commentators were like, oh yes, that's where Sahith was earlier today, and it took him 3 shots to get up onto the green. And I was like, oh fuck, that doesn't sound good for me. But yeah, Terence, all due to you. Honestly, my probably one of my favorite things of this tournament was the Sahith versus Shane Lowry bet. It kept it super fresh,
it's just
super
so good.
interesting. When Scottie pretty much ran away with it, although I wouldn't have known because I was asleep. On to number 2. What have I written here? My goodness. Oh yes, this was we touched on it on Saturday, but for some reason this made me laugh so much was when our mole on the ground said players are super angry, and after the windy conditions that they had, and your response was, "Are they angry with God?" Yes, just for me, it just summed up everything about professional golf. That, like, you know, when like conditions get tough, and you know, I don't know if you guys are the same as me, but shit, it's fun watching the players experience what like average, you know, day-to-day players experience with golf, which is just immense frustration a lot of the time. Like, fuck, you know, you're not getting up and down every time, and yeah, maybe your putt is going to go 7 foot past and you're going to miss the one coming back. And yeah, fuck you are going to fall putt every now and then. And yeah, get angry at it. And if you want to get angry at God or whoever the higher power is, like, be my guest. But it was so refreshing to see not Oaks just birdieing every single hole and the final score being 20 under, and just guys like hacking around a bit. It like, for me, it was really, really epic to see that. So that was my number 2. My number 3, I've got a tie for number 3, so I've gerrymandered this a little bit. The one was going to Victor Hovland when he was just in the absolute doldrums, and probably leading on from my point before this, when he was just hacking around in the trees and just like pulled his cap off and just had his head in his hands and was just, you could just see he wanted to be anywhere else in the world at that moment. Again, absolute relatable moment. Probably one of the reasons I really enjoyed this Masters. And then my number 3 moment, Terence, was you getting the call absolutely wrong of saying, you heard it here first, Gary Player was at Umhlali Country Club. He's not going to be a ceremonial starter. Followed by 1 day later, I think European Tour or someone, or DP World Tour, someone shared a thing of Gary Player strutting up Magnolia Lane. And I was like, there is not a chance Gary Player is missing that ceremonial start. He probably played Umhlali because it was close to the Durban airport, so it was an easy way for him to get to Augusta, like ASAP. So yeah, those were my moments from the tournament. Terence, I will get you a nicer bottle of wine than Tussies. I'm not that guy. Well done on your win.
Thank you. Did you see the eagle, Shane Lowry's eagle on the 14th? I mean,
You
that
made
little
you made
duel,
sure
it was,
that we
it was
saw
almost
it.
like a throwback.
T?
Yeah, Terence, I did see it. You were sharing it. You were sharing it with all and sundry. I mean, I think you were peacocking pretty hard at that moment, so so it was hard to miss.
I think Terence might be gone.
Yeah, I think he's gone.
That's it.
I think that now's the time for me to say, while he's not here, that the one that I've got him for our internal bet is Autumn Harvest. So I am that guy.
But you got to go back to your Rhodes roots off and make him like sellotape it to his hand.
No, what I'll do is I'll give him some of that like pan stuff that you can buy. What is it called? It's like the Oros, but it's cheaper than Oros.
Like cordial.
Cordial,
Yeah.
pan cordial. And a bomb of crackling, 1.5 liters, and maybe some jelly tots, which you can eat at the same time to improve the taste.
I'd love to know what it gets on Jacques' one of the month club.
Shit, surely not above 10.
Autumn Harvest. Yes, you know, my mom was a big Autumn Harvest fan growing up. Yeah. Sorry, you bloody Marklaus and Hilton Oaks. You don't know the struggle.
Oh shit!
Tussies and Autumn Harvest.
But going back to what you were saying, Jacques, about Victor Hovland, when he hit that one, the one into the bush, and then he hit the one into the tree that went back into the bush. Just watching that, and like as you mentioned, just seeing his face, like his head drop, and seeing the reaction and like the motion draining from his face, I was like, I hate seeing it happen to you. I'd much rather it happen to someone like Patrick Reed or something like that. Although to be fair, we didn't see any shots from Patrick Reed. I don't actually recall seeing one of his shots over all 4 days. But like just seeing that emotion and like just seeing it was like helplessness at the end of the day. And you're like, as you mentioned, welcome to our world, motherfuckers. Like this is what we deal with on a day-to-day basis. And you guys must get a taste of that shit.
And it's so lekker. I mean, you made such a good point there, JDV. It's 100% correct. Like, it's so nice to see them hacking around. And you think about like the Open Championships and that of of the past, where the Oak that won it with like 1 under or 2 under. Like even the Open Championships have got a bit soft. You know, Oaks are winning with much lower scores. But I mean, you were like top 10 with a +4. Now I know the Masters wasn't like that, but you know, it was a real hack for these Oaks. And bearing in mind that the first round was after a storm and it was quite soft. And things went south quite quickly after that. It was really nice to see them hacking and to know that the caddies and players are complaining makes it even better. But yeah, it was tough seeing Vic. He also had that, what was it, a 4 putt from like 4 feet or something.
Oh yes.
which was really hard to see, such a good guy, and even harder to see because he was one of my Golfchamps picks. So that was a tough watch.
I've got a question though. Like who was the most disappointing player for you, Oaks? Like who did you not necessarily back, but who did you think was going to do well and just absolutely shat the bed?
I think for me, go ahead, JDB.
Sorry, after you go. So I was going to say there are 2 very obvious choices here. Rory McIlroy was just, man, so sad. I know he's not your biggest fan, but yes, I really was excited to see what he was going to bring to the table, and just didn't show up at all.
Again,
and then obviously the other one is John Rahm, and maybe to call, yes, it's my dad who put his Christo Lamprecht bet on, had the last laugh because my brother and I put basically half of our whole betting account on John Rahm to make a top 10 because we thought it was a sure thing. And my dad's like, that's the cuckest bet ever. Sean's like private messaging me. He's like, no, it's still a great bet. I stand by it. But I do stand by that bet. So yeah, John Rahm, Rory McIlroy, Tucky, they shed the bed.
Yeah, I think the obvious one is Jordan Spieth as well, but I think that was always coming. Justin Thomas was maybe a surprise. That was a bit strange that he fell off like he did and in the way that he did. So I think those were probably the biggest disappointments. But as you say, Tucky, even a Patrick Reed. I mean, at one stage I think he was in the top 15, and not a single shot. I didn't see a single shot of Patrick Reed. So I don't know if it's because he had 2 or 3 balls in play and they didn't want to show him cheating.
Yeah, there wasn't a single shot of Patrick Reed. You're absolutely right.
Look, I wasn't bleak about that, to be fair. If the less I see of that oak is probably the better. But I was thinking, the one thing that I did notice was that the top 5 players, so from 1 to tie 3, all PGA Tour players. Bryson and Cam Smith T6. Can you? I don't know if you can read into that at all. I don't know whether that's something that you the PGA Tour is better than Live in terms of quality. But I just thought that was interesting.
But isn't that a situation of just purely numbers?
Yeah.
There's more PGA Tour players in the field. They're gonna just from a numbers perspective, they're gonna be higher. If it was 50-50 PGA Live, then I think that number might have been a bit different.
No, I agree. But you think of the guys that finished in the top 5 from the PGA Tour, not your expected guys, like Ludwig, Max Homer, Colin Morikawa maybe, and Tommy Fleetwood. Those aren't the guys that you would automatically assume would be finishing in the top 5 from the PGA Tour.
Although I was quite happy
Gentlemen, I am back. Can you guys hear me?
Terence, are you on your Mozambican MSOL connection there?
It sounds like you've set up in front.
You know
of
what the strangest thing was? I could hear every single word of your conversation about the wine that you're going to give me, Hop.
What conversation?
But I couldn't talk. There was nothing coming through. So yeah,
perfect storm for me then.
This is exactly. You had the soapbox there. I had no way of coming back. But
I did ask if you had any objection to the autumn harvest, and there was no reply. So that's what you get.
Yeah, sorry guys. Just talk about you just when you think we're getting on top of this whole podcast thing, actual amateur hour going on here. Guys, I'm gonna quickly run through my 3 things, and honestly, mine are a little bit less of the pro golf focus, but they are, but they're less about the actual performance. But I don't think enough was made of the fact that my first thing is Bryson. I don't think enough was made of the fact that he was playing with 3D printed irons that he designed himself and was using for the first time competition, last week at the Masters. That's that is outrageous. I mean, the week before at Live, he was literally using ping irons, and then he apparently had been designing these irons together with some other oak, and they finally got them approved, and now he was playing them for the first time at the Masters, 3D printed irons. It's just super crazy. And he was using a driver designed for long drive competitions, it's called a crank or something like that. It's just that guy I miss that guy so much, and it was so great to have him back in the mainstream on TV for a while. So that was my number 1. My second thing was, I think I'm going to start a new segment for major championships and try to find the player who had the worst 9 holes, the worst 9-hole, stretch.
Brian Harmon.
Okay, so spoiler alert, it is Brian Harmon. But honorable mention is Justin Thomas, who he single-handedly moved the cut line on Friday by playing the last 4 holes in +7. He went double, bogey, double to miss the cut by 1 and move the whole cut line to +6. I mean, that was pretty entertaining. And then, but yeah, first place, Brian Harmon. So I think quite a lot of people, but there were definitely like a number of people who had Brian Harmon in their Golfchamps team. And through the first 9 holes on Thursday, he was 2 under. So, like, I mean, he's played pretty well at Augusta in the past. I reckon guys who picked him were feeling pretty confident. He then went on to shoot a back 9, 47, which had 2 bogeys, 3 doubles, and a triple.
That's just like imploding, eh? Oh my word.
So the question I have to ask is, so firstly, like that's definitely, I couldn't find a worse 9 holes, from anyone else. But do you reckon, because remember he was playing with Brooks, and we had that thing about whether Brooks was going to get like uptight with him. Do you reckon that was maybe the Brooks factor? Like, do you think Brooks was maybe staring him down out there? I mean, it's got to be something to it, eh?
100%. I don't think Brooks could have like done enough mouth tobacco. I think he probably ran out on like the 8th hole, and he was just getting more and more pissed off with the soak. And then Brian Harmon thought that he was going to come after him because look, let's be honest, Brooks Koepka's going to fuck Brian Harmon up like in a fight if it comes down to that. And I reckon
Brian Harmon has his like bow and arrow with him. Then Brooks.
Yeah. I don't know about that, eh? Like, I reckon Brian Harmon could be one of those, like, sneaky oaks who's done a bit of, like, mixed martial arts or something. I wouldn't want to meet him in, like, a dark alley.
Let's be honest, Terence,
maybe on size, but, yeah.
He would be pretty slow to throw a punch, though, even if he has done mixed martial arts.
There'll be a few wiggles.
Of, like, fist waggles.
It'd be like 12 fist waggles. You never know when he's going to pull the trigger. You're like, shit. But anyway, yeah, shout out to Brian. Oh, that was like the best thing about the Masters app is going back and like watching, like you can say to someone, oh, you got to see the shot that like this guy hits on like the 8th hole on the 3rd round, and you can go and do it. It's so sick. It's so cool. The app is so awesome. Guys, my last thing is a bit of a soapbox, like moan. So I'm gonna have a little bit of a moan. And this is generally for South African players. So obviously there were a couple of tough names in the field. We think of the Molnatis of the world. A few guys down the bottom end of the field where you can't help but look and think, sheesh. I wonder how Louis and Dean Burmester would have done against these guys. Just hashtag, I think, not hashtag, but I think side story. I think Burmester would have been seriously exposed in those windy conditions. He's a bit of a driver, wedge, PGA Tour player, but I think Louis, as we know, Louis got the iron game to play in kind of tough conditions. I think last year in the first podcast we did, like I predicted that last year was going to be Louis' last Masters because he had run out of exemptions for the majors. And all I saw after that Dean Burmester win was how unfair it is that these guys aren't they're not in the Masters, the Live bots, and there's a lot of SA Live fans who are talking about, it's so unfair, yada, yada, yada. I mean, like, guys, this was what the money was for, that they were getting paid. And I must credit to Louis. I did see he was on a podcast with the Live. I saw the Live commentary team people, and they were trying their hardest to get him to like basically talk about how unfair it was. And he never actually went down that road. He said, look, I knew the risks I was taking, and he said it does hurt not being able to be there. But this is what that easy bag of cash was for. They're playing in a tour where they only have to beat like 10 guys on a weekend. I looked at when they sent out the invites to the Masters, the top 3 players on Live at that stage was Neiman, Sergio, and DJ this year, and all 3 of those guys were at the Masters. So Neiman obviously got the invites, and the other 2 were already exempt. So yeah, guys. This was the issue that I had last year. I'm not the biggest fan of Liv. The product's not really for me. But my biggest issue, particularly with a guy like Louis going, was I just knew that it was the end of his major chances essentially, and we're seeing it come to roost now. The only major we'll see Louis in is at the Open, unless he goes and qualifies for the US Open, and it just sucks because we just don't have the strength necessarily yet coming up to really have any guys who are going to challenge. So yeah, it's not a great situation, and I don't get that excited for the guys winning on the Live Tour, unfortunately. And just last thing, the fucking Live players look stupid in their bloody outfits at the Masters. I'm sorry, it looked like one of their family members had gone to Disney World and bought them a whole bunch of merchandise, and now they were wearing it for 4 days in a row. I'm sorry, especially Rahm and Hatton. The Stingers, Schwartzel looked stupid. They just generally, that Live stuff just looks ridiculous. Yeah, that's it. That's me off my soapbox.
Tell us how you really feel.
Comments, suggestions.
No, Terence, I dig Sergio's get up on Thursday. Thought that was bang on. The green and yellow. It's the only thing that epitomizes the Masters. Surely, you've got to realize that if you want to
the walking Brazil flag.
That's it. It was an abomination. Look, I'm no fashion guru, but my God, that was fucking horrendous.
I think you actually Terence called it a Brazilian beach towel.
I would take those Live outfits every single day over some of the other shitter outfits that the other players were wearing. I mean, Victor Hovland had a photo-ready picture of a magnolia on his shirt. I mean, the one that looked like someone had peed on his shirt. It was white with very subtle yellow stains on it. So, I don't know, Terence. I think it was Tony Finau, but I need to check the tape on that. But I would take the Live outfits over some of that other cuck that was out there. I think Terence, look at it objectively, that there was a lot of bad outfits, not necessarily only from the Live guys.
Yeah, can we also, if we're talking about outfits, can we just shout out Jose Maria Olazabal as well for his creamy brown tan on tan with a tan shirt, tan socks, and tan hat.
The Tanimal.
And talking on Saturday about how poor Supersports coverage is, it just turned out that we ended up watching 2 hours of Olazabal, so that was tough as well. I'll take Legion 13 over that. Thank you.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you, Alf.
I just wonder if are they compelled to wear their Live outfits? Do you think it's in their contracts? If you play in any other tournaments, because when outside of the majors, also I've seen when the guys are playing on the Asian tour or whatever, they wear them. But do you think it's fully stipulated that you have to wear the Disney World merch if you're playing in a major?
100%.
I would say so.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I must say, the one Live team that I quite like is the Torquay outfits. I don't mind those. I thought Neiman looked fairly decent, but yeah, generally I thought most of them looked pretty fucking stupid.
Well, I mean, Jason Day's outfit was so bad that the Masters had to ask him to take his tracksuit top off.
That Melbourne sleeveless jersey that he was wearing was unreal. That I was like, "Ma, bro, what are you trying to?"
Tommy wore a jersey that was horrific as well. So
Yeah.
I think the Live Oaks are slightly ahead of those guys.
Yeah.
Jason Day's pants as well on Thursday were,
He
questionable at
looked like
best.
he was entering into the America's Cup like yacht race with those pants, but it was a hell of a sight in the wind. But I don't know how he managed to like putt with those things like flapping between his groin. It was quite a thing.
I thought he
It's
was.
Hobart.
I thought he was. I thought it was going to rain. I thought he was in like his rain gear. Those pants had they had the elastic bottoms almost around the ankles. I was like, what the hell's going on here?
Shit, they were horrendous.
Yeah. No, there was some. I heard you talking about Victor Hovland earlier, and just I don't know. Really, there's something going on with that guy. Like in a different space. But he always brings the interesting vibes with his Masters kit. Guys, I've totally emptied the tank here on the Masters. Is there anything else we've missed? Is there anything else that's going to keep you up at night?
Well, I think what's going to keep me up at night is just woken himself up. So I think I might have to book out anyway. So yeah, thanks for the time, gents, and for the chat, Tucky. Looking forward to seeing you on here more and more.
Yeah, boys. Fortunately for me, I'm home alone. The missus and the little one have buggered off to Cape Town, so I can get a full night's sleep.
Oh,
Lucky bugger.
Jeez, what a pleasure. I think what might keep me up at night is that wine that Hoff's gonna send me. That sounds like insomnia juice right there.
But you're getting jelly tots with it as well, so you're getting a great deal.
Of course, yeah, full smorgasbord. I just lastly, guys, before we go, I just wanted to. It was the Sunshine Tour Championship, which was on this weekend. Jono Broomhead, the rookie, I think he's from DCC actually. The young AM golfer from DCC. He won that tour championship, so that's awesome. That's a big deal. He's definitely like a star for the future. Half your guy Jaden Shaper finished 5th, and the Golden Boy Jarvis came in at a pretty mild 15th. But the other thing I wanted to shout out was that hole-in-one comp they did on Saturday was pretty cool, where they had like a shootout with all the guys who had a hole-in-one over the season. I think there were like 7 or 8 of them. So I think we were chatting about that on the podcast. But yeah, I'd love to see more of that sort of stuff in and around golf tournaments. And then I just wanted to ask Taki what the vibe was out at Simbali Lakes with the Big Easy yesterday, who's signed his name to the course. And does he actually sign the course somewhere? Taki, does he put his finger in the cement, or is it just more of a brand thing? It's pretty exciting to have him on board.
Yeah, he didn't give a hell of a lot away, to be fair. It's an Ernie Els signature course, guys. I think it's going to be very lacquer. The fourth hole, there's got a par 3 that goes over like a ditch. That's the only hole that they've completed, but the first 3 holes look really nice. The third's going to be a par 5 along one of the lakes, heading towards like the freeway side. But I think it's going to be a very, very, very nice golf course. Ernie, guys, what a legend. Like, that I had time for everyone there. Obviously, he's selling the product, but like, besides that, he was so accommodating to people, full of jokes, talking smack to all his mates. But what a legend.
That's super cool. I was going to send you a message to see if you could get a little voice, like a little note for us, to slot into our Go Track, like halfway through our episodes, But I didn't want to lean on you too much, I know you were there in it with your proper media hat on. So maybe down the line when they open the course, we can sit down with the Big Easy. That'd be a hell of a thing for the Go Track to do.
Yeah. That would be a massive coup. I had it in my plans. I was going to actually have a sort of sit down 5-minute tour with him, but he's got to bugger off back overseas. So he's got to go to Europe now, and then he's heading over because they've got a Champions tour major coming up in the States.
Oh,
Guess
okay.
we've got to go to the States then. Oh, well.
Did you tell him he should use the shipping company that Gary Player uses to ship his body back across overseas cryogenically? Seems very efficient because my goodness, Gary Player was there quickly. It was almost like was the real Gary Player ever in South Africa, or are there body doubles now? Because gee whiskers, that was fast.
There are multiple. There must be multiple Gary Players. There must be a Gary Player in South Africa. One in Europe, then the main one probably camped outside Augusta, I reckon.
That is a terrifying thought.
He's probably almost certainly had himself cloned. I mean that like
if that was an option, he would. And the thing is, he could probably do it because he's got all. Now we are going into the weeds, but I mean, he's got those like horse hospitals and the rest of it on his property. I'm sure they're cloning like race horses and shit. I've got no doubt Gary Player's cloned himself, and that's one Gary Player clone was playing Mtlali, the other Gary Player clone was playing Gary, and the real Gary Player was doing a karate kick at the Masters.
Yeah, we might have to get someone to look into that because we'll see where he pops up next and see if the private jet trackers and stuff tie in with that, because there may very well be, as we say, 4 or 5 of them. Sure. He's got friends in high places, guys. Let's be honest. He's friends with the Saudis. He's good mates with Donald Trump. So anything's possible. It should make it easy for us to get him on the podcast then, though. I mean, we just phone his local one. Gentlemen, thanks so much for your time and for everything you guys do for the game of golf. Deeply appreciate it, yeah. I know, Jacques, you're moving in towards club champs now at Cotswold. So, I hope you're grooving the swing. I'm starting to see club champs is around about 4 weeks away for me now. So I need to start looking at the putting stroke a little bit. It's time to play some golf. The winter in KZN, there is no better time. So hopefully you guys are going to be getting out and about with your clubs. But thanks guys, and we will catch up soon.
Awesome. Thanks, boys.